Welcome to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. And now your host, Tim Johnson.
With 9 institutions and almost 92,000 students, the University of Louisiana system is one of the largest higher education systems in the United States, with a huge economic impact in Louisiana. We'll visit with Dr. Jim Henderson on this edition of the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
Consumers and property owners with construction projects can have a successful result or regretful experiences that could have been avoided. Before any construction project, verify licensure of the contractor and check references. Scammers will claim to be insured or bonded, so always check first. Download our app, LA Contractor, from the Android or Apple Store. Visit our website, lacontractor.org, or contact the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. We're here to help before things go wrong. Hire a licensed contractor. It's the law.
Spadel's Florist was founded over 30 years ago. From my mom's kitchen, we have grown into one of the largest florists in this area. There's a sense in our community that you stick together, good times or bad. And oil and gas is part of that family. They're my neighbors. They're my customers. They're the person I'm sitting next to at church. If oil and gas is doing well, all of our businesses are doing well. We are Louisiana Oil and Gas.
This is the Louisiana Community and Technical College System Foundation in action, providing scholarships, advocacy, and professional development to support LCTCS colleges that supply businesses with competent, skilled people, from chefs to welders to diesel mechanics, nurses, process technicians, IT professionals, graphic designers, and more. Visit this website and support your LCTCS Foundation for better business, stronger communities, and a higher Louisiana for all.
Passion, experience, safety. These are what set Arkell Constructors apart as a premier general contractor. At Arkell Constructors, our goal is to exceed our clients' expectations, whether it's commercial, industrial, or facility maintenance. We have the team and processes in place to provide a solution for you. To us, every project is a resume for our future. Arkell Constructors, the solution for your next building project.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Dr. Jim Henderson, president of the University of Louisiana System, is my guest. My friend, welcome back to the show.
Hey, buddy, it's always a pleasure.
Let's start with one of your institutions, Louisiana Tech, recovering from a devastating tornado in Ruston. Lot of damage there. How's that recovery going, Jim?
You know, you start with Les Geist, the president of the university, and the model of leadership in response to a crisis that he has displayed is it's a lesson for all of us in how to number one, do the operations right, but number two, his deft handling of the human equation. It's been phenomenal. And so I'm just so proud of what Les Geist and the Louisiana Tech community have done. Luckily, you know, the storm came through, it hit the athletic facilities, softball field, baseball field, soccer field. But when you drive on that campus and you see the proximity of the residence halls to that baseball stadium and they're relatively untouched, you realize just how fortunate that campus was. Now, just off to the southwest of the campus is a little community called University Hills. It's occupied mostly by faculty, and it looks like some of these homes is probably their third or fourth generation of faculty. Beautiful noble trees that are just gone, houses that have been virtually destroyed. I drove through there Saturday, just before their last graduation, and while we're here in Baton Rouge, you can sometimes forget about things. You know, after the original aftermath of the storm is gone, you see that there's a long road ahead for these folks, and so they need our support.
How can our viewers and specifically the business community get engaged in helping with this recovery?
Well, you know, first, I can't say enough about the business community, how they've already rallied to support Louisiana Tech. Those that have the physical assets to go and help with cleanup.
Carl Malone was big, wasn't he?
You know, Carl Malone is big in so many ways, right?
Literally and figuratively.
The only time he stopped working is when there was a camera, because he didn't want the accolades. He just wanted to do it out of his heart. He's just another great example of Louisiana Tech alumni. But if you go to the Louisiana Tech's website, you'll see a link to a place where you can go and give support to the campus. You have a number of families that have been impacted. That whole Ruston community has done a great job of bouncing back. You know, Ruston Strong is their motto, and you get that feeling when you get to that town. But they don't need to be in it by themselves. There's a whole state that's here to rally behind them and support them in this effort.
Well, we'll pay attention to how that recovery goes, ongoing recovery, and let us know if there's a way we can support. Now, you're on every year, and we always like to have you here because it's always a great conversation and a great update. So let's talk about the University of Louisiana system. 9 institutions. We mentioned Louisiana Tech, but Grambling, McNeese, Nicholls State, Northwestern State, Southeastern Louisiana, University of Louisiana Lafayette, University of Louisiana Monroe, and the University of New Orleans.
That's right. 9
distinct, important, historic universities in our state. Give us an update on the system overall.
You know, it is, we've come off our second year of budget stability, right? So not increases in investments, but it's stability that allows us to plan, that allows us to focus on those aspects of our operation that we are in control of, being responsive to our communities, being responsive to our missions, and then collectively achieving things that are worthy of our state. You know, these presidents came together and they set what I think is a pretty audacious vision that we're going to create the most educated generation in Louisiana's history. We're going to respond to these changes in the very nature of work, changes that are driven by advancing technology, the emergence of robotics and artificial intelligence, and the way that that's demanding a more educated workforce than ever before. These guys haven't shied away from that. In fact, they're embracing it. And so I'm very proud of the work we're doing as a system, which is probably different than we've done things before. There's never going to be a reason to vary from the individual mission of each of these institutions. And we have world-class research institutions, including, UNO is the only urban research institution in the state of Louisiana. We've got the regional institutions. We have Grambling with its HBCU mission. And those missions are important, but collectively is where we can have the tremendous impact we have on the state of Louisiana.
Well, it is a line to balance, and I know you and I have had this conversation before, and you mentioned it in that last answer, that there are unique roles and missions that each of these campuses have, the unique responsibility that they have to their communities and their regions, but you're getting them to work together in a way that they never have necessarily before under the guidance of an overall system. And you mentioned leadership at Louisiana Tech, but the leadership at each of these campuses and their willingness to come together around that shared vision while they maintain their uniqueness has been fun to watch, and it's important for our state.
Well, it's the way a system is supposed to work, right? And our system is a little bit different than the others. We know we've got LSU, which is the flagship system for Louisiana, vertically integrated system, and we need a nationally competitive flagship. Nobody doubts that. We've got Southern, which is our other land-grant institution. It's the only HBCU system that exists in the country. The Louisiana Community and Technical College system, and my goodness, is their mission more important today than it's ever been.
Monty Sullivan and his team doing a fabulous job, our mutual friend.
Yeah, he's an okay guy,
yeah.
And they're doing some amazing things under his leadership. And then the University of Louisiana system, which takes these disparate institutions that all is integral to their regional economy, that's integral to the state economy, and brings them together and leverages these resources towards our collective good. And it's been a fun road to go down.
I'm always interested in the numbers. 91,500 students enrolled in the system, about 16,500 degrees awarded on an annual basis. We got about 30 seconds left here in this segment. Talk about the students and the size and scope of the system overall.
Well, you think so nearly 92,000 students, and the trajectory looks like that's going to grow. But what was fun is I got to attend 5 graduations this spring. I don't get to go to all of them, but I got to go to 5. And I saw the individual impact when they see the faces on these students, including one that was the first student that I recruited at Bossier Parish Community College, graduated with her master's in education from Louisiana Tech. You talk about a great cherry on the top of this cake that I had during this graduation season.
I want to take a break. I want to come back. I want to talk about the economic impact of the system,
sure,
because you guys recently released a report that has some really interesting statistics. We're visiting with Dr. Jim Henderson. He's the president of the University of Louisiana System. You're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
Since 1919, we've designed and constructed hundreds of industrial plants, roads, ships, dams, and executed some of the most complex jobs in the world. In fact, our quality and dependability are legendary. Today, the legend continues as Brown & Root delivers engineering, construction, maintenance, and industrial specialty services throughout the U.S. and the world from our headquarters here in Louisiana. We are Brown & Root.
ExxonMobil Baton Rouge keeps the local economy rolling. Our new aviation project created hundreds of jobs, drove millions of dollars to local businesses, and poured thousands more into our community to improve schools. 1 in 8 jobs in our parish can be traced back to ExxonMobil. Tomorrow's Baton Rouge is built by what we do today. A little energy goes a long way. ExxonMobil Baton Rouge. Energy lives here.
The 1012 Industry Report is excited to announce the 1012 Industry Weekly. This e-newsletter is free and comes to your inbox every Tuesday. All you have to do is sign up at 1012industryreport.com. 1012 Industry Report is an award-winning magazine serving South Louisiana's petrochemical and oil and gas industries. From Lake Charles to Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we cover the news, people, projects, and issues that matter to industry. The 1012 Industry Report magazine and weekly email. Sign up today.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Dr. Jim Henderson, president of the University of Louisiana System, is with me. Jim, we talked about the system, 9 institutions, almost 92,000 students, one of the largest higher education systems in the United States. But the system overall and the work that it does has a huge impact on our state's economy. You guys recently conducted a economic impact study.
That's right.
And the numbers are astounding. $10.9 billion impact. Go through some of the numbers, and I think our viewers are going to be shocked and maybe a little surprised at how big these numbers are.
You know, we decided, so we know the impact that each of our institutions has individually on its region. But we decided to take a different approach and do a collective economic impact study on what our system does for the state of Louisiana. We brought in Economic Modeling Specialists International, one of the leading economic impact study groups that's there. So independent voice that came in, and they found a $10.9 billion economic impact, 149,000 jobs supported by what we do. 1 out of every 18 jobs in the state of Louisiana supported by the work of the University of Louisiana system. And while those are impactful numbers, we took another approach and looked at it from a return on investment perspective, which was really interesting. For the students, they have a 14.4% annualized rate of return on their investment in their education at one of our institutions. Now, I don't know what your 401k is doing. No. If mine was doing 14.4, right, you know, I'd feel pretty good about that. That's tremendous. But also for the taxpayer, 12.5% annualized rate of return. That shows what a sound investment this system is, and of course the universities we represent.
I think I read in my research that somewhere in the neighborhood of, for every dollar the state invests in the system, the return is almost $6. I mean, 1 to 6. I mean, that's a huge rate of return for the taxpayer. You know,
so it's a tremendous rate of return, and you know what? Listen, in Louisiana, we've always criticized our funding of higher education. You know, when we've always said it hasn't been enough, or we've always looked at the cost and the structure. What I think what we've been able to show is a more positive side of that, saying, listen, this is what we're getting because of that investment. And that investment includes direct funding to institutions. Of course, it includes TOPS, which I think is, while it's grown to a large amount, it's still one of the soundest investments we make, and these numbers bear that out.
One of the things that I think was very interesting in the data that I was able to review is the societal impact as well. I mean, we intuitively know that higher education at all levels, quite frankly, plays a great role in improving society overall. But you guys measured it, and the return on investment from a societal standpoint is even larger, close to $10 for every dollar that's invested there. That's got to make you feel really good as well.
It really does, and those are the measurables. So you think about reduced public assistance, reduced incarceration, of course, higher salaries, more contribution to the tax base. But then you get to the intangibles, man. And when you go to some of these smaller communities and you see world-class performing arts productions, and you think about how much quality of life that adds to a community. The benefits continue, but it's all in partnership, right? It's in partnership with us at the state level. It's in partnership between communities and regions and their individual institutions. And it's the way that these institutions are integrated into the very lifeblood of Louisiana. That's what makes it special for me.
I encourage our viewers to go on to the University of Louisiana System website and take a look at the summary of that economic impact study. It is fascinating reading. And it really does shed light on the critical importance of what you're doing. You mentioned LSU is important. LSU grad, lover, I'm a bleeder of purple and gold, but I recognize how critically important this University of Louisiana system is to us. When you think about the economic impact and you think about the societal impact, one of the things that I always enjoy having conversation with you about, Jim, is the efficiency of the system. There are those out there who point at higher education, in fact, education at all levels, and say it's bloated, it spends too much money. You guys have gone from getting 70% or so of your overall budget from the state, from state support.
That's right.
And about 30% from tuition and fees to a flip-flopped ratio. Now about 70% of your support comes from tuition and fees. So you've had to be much more efficient with the dollars that you receive. I am a believer that we must invest adequately in our priorities so that we can demand excellence from them. But you guys are recognizing excellence, and you're doing it in a very efficient way.
Well, I think it's important. We want to be good stewards of our resources. Now, part of that is being good stewards of our most important resource. That's our human resources. And so, one of our biggest challenges is finding a way to compete for faculty that are mobile, that are in a competitive environment. But, we want to be good stewards of those resources. So one of the things, when you're on that website looking at information about our system, also go to our transparency page. It's a new page that we launched that I think is probably the most cutting edge, most transparent page that exists anywhere in the country of any higher ed system, where you can look at measures of operational efficiency and you can compare us to peer institutions across the southern region if you like. You can also look at student success outcomes and measure those against our peers. You'll see some opportunities for us to improve, but you'll see some opportunities, probably a lot more examples of where we are leading the country in efficiency and effectiveness. Very proud of that, but it's not enough. We don't measure ourselves on where we've been. We measure ourselves against what is possible. And that's why I'm so happy to work with these 9 presidents at our institutions and the faculty and staff they represent, focused on achieving the most we can for the state of Louisiana and helping Louisiana enjoy a quality of life and economic competitiveness it's eluded us for generations.
Well, you go back to that vision, right, that you and your system, your university presidents have developed to create and produce the most educated generation of Louisianians in history. And you're laser focused on that. I want to take a break. We come back. I want to talk about this new effort that you guys are launching to reach out to those folks in Louisiana who have some college education but have not completed. I think it's fascinating. We're visiting with Dr. Jim Henderson. He's the president of the University of Louisiana System, and you're watching the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.
I just see the positive things on the horizon, and BRAC is a real integral part of that.
BRAC's taken a very forward role in trying to help align people and align strategies and align solutions.
You'll find that you'll have an opportunity at BRAC to make a difference.
It's about being a part of conversations and really having a voice in terms of how we move the city forward.
A lot of my friends were in college and stuff, which is great. It wasn't the route for me, and financially, I know it's tough on a lot of people, so I saw welding. At first, my instinct was like, what pays the most money? So I was like, welding, that's the way to go. It made a great living for me and my family. You can always work your way up. There's multiple ladders, and really the sky's the limit. I thought I got to the max with as high as I can go with welding. It's how as you want to grow, you can absolutely achieve it.
promoting workplace safety and family wellness. That's our motto at Gulf Coast Occupational Medicine. The Gulf Coast staff is made up of some of the most knowledgeable and hardest working medical professionals in Louisiana. We care about your safety and your bottom line. With 8 convenient locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, our services include injury management, physical exams, medical surveillance, and substance abuse testing. For more information, visit us on the web at gcombr.info and ride the wave to safety.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Business and Industry Show. Dr. Jim Henderson of the University of Louisiana System is our guest. You have launched a program within the system called Compete Louisiana. I want to talk more about the name and its significance as we go along, but I didn't realize this. There are some 653,000 Louisiana residents who have some college but no degree, and you are trying to create some pathways here to allow those individuals to re-engage and finish.
That's right.
Talk about it.
Well, you think about the adult learner and the challenges that they face. And listen, a lot of them started down that path to a college degree and life happened, whether it was a child, a spouse, a job opportunity, whatever interfered with that. Now they're in a place where to be really competitive in this new 21st century job market, they need that college degree. But their most precious commodity is time. They have precious little patience for bureaucracy or red tape. And so we created a program called Compete Louisiana that knocks those barriers down, ease the transition back into college, get you on a very focused path that'll get you to a college degree as quickly as possible with as little headache as possible. We think it is going to be a game changer for the state of Louisiana.
The economic competitiveness that goes along with that, the advancement of our overall economy, the fostering of a better quality of life for our citizens, all tied up in that. And so getting those individuals to re-engage and compete, right? And Compete Louisiana. Talk about the significance of the name.
Well, so you'll see a lot of completion efforts that exist across the country, and those are fine. They're very noble in and of themselves, but completion is a means to an end. The end is competitiveness, to be able to compete as an individual in a more competitive job market, for employers to be able to compete in a global market, right? Because they have the most talent available to them. That's why we chose Compete Louisiana. And the great thing about this is, number one, it lends itself well to this global aspiration that the Board of Regents was put out around educational attainment. And it's certainly complementary to the work of my buddy Monty and the Community and Technical College system and what they're doing, trying to take the 1.5 million adults that have a high school diploma or less and get them skilled up for this new economy. So it fits in a perfect little niche there. It's something that I think that we can deliver in a way that no other system in the country can deliver. And we're very excited. We're bullish about the future. We're excited about where this is going. We had an article that was in a newspaper Saturday. We got 72 inquiries on Sunday for people that wanted to come back to school and get that degree.
Did these numbers surprise you? Let me read some of these. Almost 75,000 in the Acadiana region, about 165,000 in the capital region, the greater Baton Rouge area, 180,000 in the greater New Orleans area. These are folks who have some college and haven't finished. The numbers were shocking to me.
You know, I think that the scale of the numbers, especially when you break them down by region, is shocking to people. But listen, I've seen it from my time on a campus where a student will come, I see them on registration day, and then, a few years later, I said, I wonder what happened to this student. And we'll go back and look, and scholastically, they did okay. They've got a number of credits. They were on a path to a degree, but something happened. And listen, man, this is a dynamic world we live in. Something's going to happen to all of us. And the days of having just a natural 4-year path to a degree are basically gone. I mean, you're going to have some examples of that. But a lot of folks, because of work, because of life, they depart from that pathway. We're here to get them back on it.
If someone is watching and they want to make an inquiry, like you said you got after the article appeared on Saturday, do they just go to the website? What do they do?
Yeah, just go to ulsystem.edu and click on the Compete Louisiana link. It'll get them a very streamlined application, and within a month we'll have a new app that's launched that makes things very easy for you. And but that application gets you to a coach, and that coach is going to be with you from the minute you express interest till you walk across that stage with your diploma and a new ability to compete in this job market.
I noticed something else as I was researching that you're doing that I think is pretty innovative, and that's the University of Louisiana System Management and Leadership Institute. Tell us a little bit about that, Jim.
Well, we want to develop our own, right? So you think about what we do it in the world of work, in private sector and public sector. When you have someone who's good at something, we immediately put them into a leadership role. But we don't train them on how to be a leader. I think about faculty, the best English faculty we've got. We're going to make them department head. And we haven't empowered them with the knowledge, skills, and ability to be an effective leader. So we created the Management and Leadership Institute is to take mid-level managers, mid-level supervisors from both the faculty ranks, the non-faculty ranks, and prepare them to be leaders. Leaders that will be the next generation of university presidents and vice presidents and provosts that will ensure that we have that quintessential element for success, solid leadership.
One of the things that I know has marked your tenure there, and we've mentioned it a couple of times during the course of the show today, is support from the business community.
Yeah.
You've been very blessed. We talk about the recovery from the tornado at Louisiana Tech and the business community's engagement there. But you don't just need business community engagement in terms of donations or money. You want their engagement from a lot of different perspectives, including to help ensure that the programs you deliver meet industry and business standards. Talk about your message to the business community, Jim.
So it's vitally important that we are linked at the hip with our industry partners, and you see that in any number of manifestations. At the National Cyber Research Park in Bossier City, well, you'll see Louisiana Tech and Bossier Parish Community College and General Dynamics, one of the nation's leaders in technology industry, working side by side, developing curricula, having a labor exchange. Similar thing going on at DXC in New Orleans, CGI in Lafayette. And then you go to our traditional lifeblood industries, oil and gas industry in Louisiana, petrochemical industry. Go to that hotbed of economic growth in Lake Charles, and you're going to see McNeese State University right there working with these businesses. And it's essential to who we are. It's ingrained in who we are, and we think it's a very important part of our operation.
Well, listen, I think the state's blessed to have you in the position that you're in. I think you are one of the great resources that we have. Keep up the good work. We're going to have you back on again, as we always do next year, my friend.
Appreciate you, Tim.
That's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week at this very same time for another edition of the Louisiana Business and Industry Show.